Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a good video for you today. We're going to be talking about TikTok with an expert. So this is going to be a good video. Before I get started, please check me out on all the social media programs, social media. Check us out. Check our merch out, the book Gangster Redemption. Matter of fact, this video, if you do something wrong, you could go to prison and maybe face it. Worse than what I faced. That's the truth. Also, check our cigars out. The Crooked Diamond does very well. Everything's going great, everybody. And make sure this Thursday, in a couple days, I'm gonna be live. We call it Giveaway Thursday. Live Giveaway Thursday. Every other Thursday, I give a few books away. I give cigar boxes signed, and we do that to the audience. So that's gonna be 6 p.m. this Thursday, right here on the channel. Now, everybody, I have a great person to speak to. And I thought this video would be very good because what's going on with TikTok. I am a TikToker. I have 460,000 people on TikTok. Some of my videos I got the highest 17 million views. TikTok. I did not know that the government was gonna ban TikTok. I know a lot of you guys do know that. So I brought somebody in to talk about it and the security concerns. I brought Paul Sample. Thank you for coming, Paul.
Thank you, Larry.
Paul works with CACI. It's a national security defense contractor. They deal with the government. They deal with clearances. Paul happens to have a very high clearance, and I'm going to have him first speak about the clearances and what is the concern for the government here. And we're going to talk about a thing called the SCIF. I'm going to educate you guys what a SCIF is, and I knew what a SCIF was. But Paul will tell us a little bit more as a man that uses a SCIF.
Okay, Chief, go ahead.
Dr. Waldo Smith.
What?
Dr. Waldo Smith of our PI.
And I think of it as if you're old and watching this, the old Get Smart, they used to bring the bubble, the cone of silence down over them, and they would talk. Kind of like that. Paul, just a quick question. You work for a defense contract. Do you have people under you?
I do. I work with, as a corporate employee, I work with all projects, all programs at CACI.
So you manage contracts with the government?
We manage, we get contracts from the government, and we have to execute on those contracts that the government asks us.
Now, I know you can't give, obviously, proprietary information or any security clearance since you have such a high clearance. But do you work on like defense stuff, bombs or jets or something of that nature?
We do a little bit of everything, but we do cybersecurity. We'll do lasers, radios, photonics, you name it. There's a wide, vast array of things that we do at CACI.
How many employees does CACI have?
We got over 20,000, I believe, worldwide.
Wow, 20,000 employees. Okay, let's get into what a clearance is. What levels of clearance are there? I mean, could you just give the audience a quick, brief idea of the clearance? Sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna get into real detail, but there's levels of clearances, and it could be as simple as you're working at a bank and you have to have a public trust clearance, right? And so there's those levels, and then as you move up within the government, depending on the type of information, products you're working with, you might have higher level clearances. And typically there's 2 or 3 levels, and then you can do things, additional stuff if needed. But typically there's the secret and top secret, and then you have your public trust. Those are...
And probably, like, I'll bet there's even more, like, need to know, and what the White House might be a white clearance, I heard once somebody say, whatever that meant. But Area 51, everybody knows that, where it's, the Martians and stuff. Is that a clearance place?
There's definitely probably classified information there. I've never been there myself, so I don't know exactly what's held there. But I know most government areas you need to have certain access or permissions to get in there. So whether it has to be a cleared permission, I'm sure there's facilities in there that are, and there's probably some that aren't. Just like a base. A base might have cleared buildings and uncleared buildings,
So as a felon, do I get a clearance?
You'd have a tough job, but stranger things have happened. You were on the floor of Congress, so
yes, I was. That is true. And they got clearances, and they're probably bigger criminals than me. But we're not going to get into them this show. I think it's important for you to. You've been reading, and your company has banned TikTok from you.
They have.
So you have your company phone. I saw you talking to Is that do you have TikTok on that phone?
I would not be allowed to. It's a good way to get fired. They made it a policy, no TikTok on any company asset, media asset, and also they've also disallowed it within the government. So any government asset, if you're an employee holding a government asset, CACI, we do take care of government property. So if we're holding any sort, we can't have any sort of TikTok, whether it's a computer, laptop, we name it, right? We're not supposed to be.
Well, now I'm gonna push back here. Can you have Facebook on that phone?
Yeah, I don't think there's the rule against having a Facebook app. They look down upon
On using social media during work, obviously, but I don't think there's a ban on Facebook.
So you can have
could have
Facebook on.
Facebook.
You can have Twitter on there.
I believe you can have Twitter as well.
Instagram. I'm assuming it. Why would you think they would ban just TikTok?
So, based on what my company security has told us and informed us, and what I've been learning, through my work, a lot of it has to do with who that company that owns TikTok is from, and they're from China. And so there is a Chinese national law that's out there, and that came around, I think, 2017. And that law basically states that any government or any business within China that is a Chinese business is forced to collect and inform the government on any information they have. And so, being that TikTok is owned by a government business from China, they're kind of forced to provide data if the Chinese party asks for it.
Well, that I got to push back on that because I've started doing some research on that again. There's 252 Chinese companies listed on U.S. exchanges as of working in the United States. They have $1.03 trillion in assets, market capitalization. Why aren't they being banned?
It's a great point, and it could be that they're not the type of information of what they
Deal with is not gathering intel from Americans, potentially exposing them for blackmail or things like that. If it's dealing with products, unless that product's collecting some sort of information on an individual or citizen, it might not be a concern of the government.
Paul, you're an intelligent guy, obviously. You work with a national intelligence agency. I got to know you. And when I look at this, I say, wait a minute. Facebook's doing it. Instagram, Twitter, they're all collecting our data. Look at Amazon. They actually have, they secure government servers. They do. I know that for a fact. Look at Google. If I type in Google search dildos, I will have more dildos being pushed to me for an ad. That's just because they must know my data or my information.
You're right.
And we have plenty of apps within the U.S. that are collecting information. I mean, that's a well-known thing, and you've seen them on the Congress floor too, trying to regulate a little bit of what that is. But I think the biggest issue here is that it's coming from an adversary that we think could use the information against us as a national security threat.
Do you think? See, here's again. Listen, I'm not a naive man. I've been around a while. Maybe some young people haven't. Anybody's gotta be the most naive person in the world if you think that them collecting information from Larry or Nick, my assistant, or my brother, even you, we don't think that they don't have that already, that kind of information, because we're gonna get into a little higher security here in a minute. We gotta be naive.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I think we're concerned about is they have permission through that app to go into other apps. So let's say you had private information in those other apps that you haven't shared with the world. Now, I know you've shared almost everything probably over your life, but there are people that try to keep things private. If they're able to access that information, that's where we have an issue where they can come back, blackmail someone who had a clearance maybe.
If they're going to do that, they're going to do it anyway. Forget permissions. You signed. You hit a button that you didn't read. Obviously, let me give you a little point of crap. People have prenups. Signed everything. They don't mean shit to some things. Get a lawyer, breaks the prenup, before you know it, you're screwed. We could sign or think we're signing and think that means something. I often tell young people this. They say, wait a minute, Larry, they can't do that. The government can't do that. That's against my rights. I said, stop. The United States went into Panama, made Manuel Noriega a drug dealer, went with jets, and arrested him, brought him to prison in the United States, and he was in a federal prison my friend was in. Why didn't Ronald Reagan, and I was a Reagan supporter, get arrested for the Iran drug scandal? They were selling drugs for hostages. That has been poured Oliver Northwood to prison for it. Why didn't the president, who they knew and admitted that he knew, and he made the order, why didn't Panama or whoever country come here and arrest Ronald Reagan? I can tell you why, because we're the big dog on the block. And that's not right. Here's what I'm getting at again. I'm not naive, and I don't think any of my audience is naive enough to think that whatever bullshit, we know they know it anyway. I mean, just because you say you can't take this information, trust me, I'm sure there is naked pictures that I have or whatever, or you have, or people have. They're probably out there. Who cares, is what my point would be. So let's get into the security and what security is about. And your job, I get. You know, I don't even have a problem with the government saying to your company, since you are really dealing with maybe bombs or plans for you know, I don't care what it is, a jet radar that could change the balance of power. Do you work from home?
I do. Most of the time.
When you work from home, can you do any kind of business on a computer like that has a clearance, a top secret, I don't care, secret, top secret. Can you like communicate with someone like that?
No, I don't do any classified work at all at home or on my computer. In fact, I can even bring my computer into a classified facility and bring it back out without having to go through security checks. And so they don't let you bring in electronic devices into the
So how do you communicate with your company? And we're going to talk about this for a second.
Not all my work's classified, right? So when I need to do classified work, we're going to a special facility for that.
Now-
those are the SCIFs you were referring to.
Okay, so a SCIF is a special facility that's must have whatever security so they can't, you know, eavesdrop and lock walls that are soundproofed or whatever it is. So you have to go to, anytime you deal with anything top secret, anything, you have to go to that?
That's true, yes.
If you don't, what happens?
Well, you'd be essentially outside exposing maybe confidential or top secret information, and that's a violation of my security clearance that I signed up for. And I potentially could be doing espionage to the country if I was sharing anything that was a national security threat or could cause harm on anyone, including the U.S. government.
You could be charged with espionage. You know there's no statute of limitation on espionage.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you did that today, 20 years from now, you could be arrested for espionage.
Yeah.
Because somebody said something like that.
It's a serious offense. I mean, it's something that I take.
We get trained on it regularly. We get refreshers on it. They do. They'll bring in videos that we watch of people that they've caught recently and what to look out for. Because as a person with a clearance who deals with that type of information, we also have to be on the lookout for things that aren't right. So, you know, that human factor never goes away. You know, you can't just rely on your company to secure doors and electronics and things like that. You have a responsibility as a citizen carrying that information to...
I mean, it must get down to the point, in fact, that maybe they have to worry about you being not only manipulated by others, but even maybe strong-armed or something like that. I mean, obviously, if something happens in your house, you must have to report it to them, correct?
Of course.
If you were robbed
or anything serious, if I go overseas, I have to get it approved. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with that clearance, and you have to notify them if there's a big thing in your life. Perhaps you have a bankruptcy, maybe not. I don't know what the situation would be. Those type of huge changes in your life open you up possibly for bribery.
Would you have to report that you're on this show?
No, I'm not sharing any classified information today. You know, I'm just having a conversation about what I do and how it works with that.
Right. Okay. I just don't want to ever put you in jeopardy as a show. So this SCIF that you go to, can I go in it?
You could, but you're not going to be able to see any classified information. So when you go into one of these facilities, think about, we have construction going on in some of these at times, so
you can't have cleared information out. So it's our responsibility when we work in a facility like that to lock that data up.
So when if you took, so I'm trying to see if I can get a tour in a SCIF.
they do
Background checks, or they'll check to make sure you're a U.S. citizen. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you're absolutely not getting in there. You are. So if you had a reason to be there, we just make sure there's nothing cleared. Since you're an uncleared person, we yell or we have different methods to notifying everyone there that we're bringing in someone without a clearance. Everyone in the entire area of this SCIF needs to stop what you're doing, put that information away until it's now cleared for us all to do that cleared work.
So when you go in there and you don't hear that, everybody in there has the clearance to be in there.
Most of the time, yes. Now there are chances. Now I'm allowed to bring in 2 people.
People at a time that are uncleared.
But you have to
But I have to
announce it.
chaperone them everywhere, and that means if Janie's got a tinkle and Larry's got a tinkle, both of you are going out together because I'm chaperoning you. I got to make sure and watch where you're at all times, eyesight, right? Because I need to know you're not going off in a room or looking at something, and you're not going to be able to bring a phone in there. You're not going to be able. I mean, those rules still apply.
Okay. Now we're gonna get back to TikTok. What do you think is the outcome of TikTok? And what I mean by that is, TikTok this has been going on for quite a while. It's gonna be banned, it's not banned. A company stepped in and owns a part of TikTok. A part of the concern, and I was reading about this, was that where they store their data. They store their data in the United States. They have a backup in Singapore. Nothing in China. I can understand it in China. The United States has backups everywhere, number one. So what's the concern there?
Well, think about technology these days. You push a button, that whatever you had in one country can be in the other, right? That's how quick data can transfer. So I don't get hung up on where it is exactly. Obviously, if it's under their control in their country, they have a lot more opportunity to do whatever they want. But even here in the U.S., we have to secure that data ourselves, and there's no way for someone for setting a button.
Okay, all the young people who watch my show, we all know about VPNs, and you know what a VPN is, of course. You know exactly what a VPN is?
Yeah, I use it daily.
Okay, the VPN, to let everybody know out there, it's really it's called a virtual private network. What it does, it really takes your location. If you use a VPN, you are not here. It actually can be bounced around the whole entire country or anywhere in the world. And you could look like you're coming from China, Russia, Japan, Korea, it doesn't matter. You can be coming from where they bounce the signal around. So I was reading where, in this case, banning the app is what they were talking about. Like, meaning you can't even have the app, so it can't be downloaded, it can't be transferred. If you get a new phone, it can't be uploaded again. I don't know how they would stop the app that you have on your phone already. I don't know how that would work. What's a way around this, if there's a way around this?
Of still keeping the app.
Well, right. You think they can do this?
They can do whatever they want.
Isn't it scary though?
Yeah.
The government in the United States was dead wrong on COVID. Wait a minute, wash your fruit, wash your mail. Are they crazy? I'm not crazy here. Wash my mail. And I know people who did that.
I do too.
I know people who would take their food and leave it at the door, a package for 3 days, spray it down, because the government said that's what to do. Well, Fauci, well, that's a bummer. So I am at a loss of what. This almost sounds to me like control. And at what point does Americans say, wait a minute, you gave us the information, I get it. I get. Larry Lawton wants to use TikTok. What? And I know the risks. I think our government should let us know the risks. Listen, I'm all for governments telling us what the risks. Like Governor DeSantis in Florida. I think he's the best governor in the country, and he should be our president. And I'll tell you why. He took the information from COVID, gave you it, gave recommendations, and stepped back. He didn't shut businesses down. He didn't do a lot of things that, in my mind, government shouldn't do. I don't know what you think of it, and we're not here to talk about Governor DeSantis, but I am talking about a person that understood that, listen, here's what you should do. You don't want to do it. You don't want to, listen, you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
I mean, you bring up a good point. It's trust in the government. If you trust the government's doing something and you believe that they're sending this out for your best interest, then great. And yes, the government has always made the right choices. But
They haven't made
and
the right
obviously a
choices.
lot of the government laws are signed by the congressmen that are supposed to represent you, right? So, and eventually the president who finally signs it. So you got to have some faith in your politicians. And if you don't, then yes, we have bigger issues. But the reason they had the ban is there's obviously intel out there that they feel could put people at jeopardy, put people at risk in our country.
Well, and here's my only argument, and we're going to have to close it a little bit, but my argument, Paul, is this. If they're going to ban TikTok, ban Facebook, ban Twitter, ban Instagram, because they're all doing the same thing. They're all gathering data. Who knows what they are doing with that data? Who knows what laws? They banned TikTok right now in government. I sat on a computer for an hour and I could not find what the penalty is if you use TikTok. Now you know your penalty in your company. You're fired. I get it. I don't get it we're banning TikTok. We have people talking about this, and that's why I had to do a video on it. And I want people to know out there, listen, I'm all for my government, but I'm not all for control. I am not a sheep being led by wolves. That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna question things, as you should. People should question things they don't believe. Now tell me them, explain them to me, why you're doing things, and then I can make a good choice. Often I tell my guys or anybody, change my mind. If you can change my mind, I'm changeable. But come at me with some intelligence. I want to thank you, Paul. What's your theory? What's going to happen right now? I mean, what do you tell my audience? Do you think is going to happen here? You're pretty astute with this technology and security stuff.
I think bottom line,
You got to watch, even with your kids, and the type of information, what apps they're downloading, and if you are sharing any sort of personal stuff that you don't feel comfortable about, like you said, it could be any app. So my best advice is whatever you're putting on a phone is pretty much going to be public access really quickly anymore, with all the information out there and the way that they're pulling data on the back end. And we can't control what the other countries have. This is just what we know. There's probably stuff we don't know. And so I think it's important, beware of what you're putting out there. Be smart. If it's something you think that you don't want out there in the light, then you probably shouldn't have it on your phone.
Well, my advice is, as long as they don't mess with the porn sites, I'm okay. And my advice to anybody out there, if you're going to use porn, use a VPN, incognito, and don't download it. You can watch it online. You don't need to download. That's where you get viruses. Not that I know that. I mean, maybe I had one or two. I really want to thank you for coming on. I think it's important that people know that what's going on with TikTok. Sadly, we are really still in the dark because they're telling us all this, but when you do your own research, I am not seeing anything different that other companies aren't doing. And if it's just because they're China, I get it, but then ban other Chinese companies. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a controlled thing against the young people on TikTok. It's my view. Everybody, comment. I want to know what you think. Ask Paul a question. He's going to read the comments on this one. And we are going to answer these questions because I want to know what you think. And you know I read comments, guys. So have a great day, everybody. Please be safe. If you work for government, obviously follow the rules of your government, your paycheck. But other than that, question authorities. Nothing wrong with question authority. I didn't say disrespect it. I didn't say, bear arms and go against it. Never. But question it. Because if you don't question it, you're just nothing but a sheep being led by a wolf. All right, guys, have a great day. Please make good choices, and I'll see you Thursday for the live show. Have a great day.